Hey everyone, nice to see you again. Welcome back to another tea video. Today I'm bringing you another tea from Mayleaf. This is the Koji Plum Ripe Pu'er. This is a very interesting tea. I'm not super experienced with flavored teas, and this one it just seemed kind of crazy to me, and I really wanted to try it. So their descriptor on the bag: unique Japanese tea fermented with koji, brown sugar, tataric, tataric? I don't know what that is. Roasted barley, preserved plums, dried apricots, and dates. I got the 50-gram packet. Here's some info on the back for you. It is interesting to note that all of Mayleaf's bags I've got so far are made from this composting paper packet, as well as you can peel off the labels and reuse the packets if you want. So that's a pretty nice thing they did there. But here's what the leaves look like. Doesn't look like anything crazy despite the descriptor. But let's get a dry leaf smell profile on it real quick, and then I'll show you the website. It smells very fruity. Very plum forward, I think. Apricot, plum, and dates. I definitely get dates too. Date has a very a scent that definitely stands out. But yeah, mostly just smells fruity. But here it is on the website. Currently appears to be out of stock, maybe because it was on that good sale. Originally $16.76. It was on sale for $10.89 for the size I have. And they do have a little taster as well. Not too bad a price, less than 50 cents a gram. Here is their little tasting wheel. So yeah, mostly fruity, a little wood earthy, a little minerality. Yeah, on the scent, I definitely got fruit. But they have a little better descriptor here. I'll read some out for you because I do think it's pretty interesting. Japanese ripened tea made from fermented green tea with koji, which, if you're not aware, koji is it's like the starter they use for soy sauce. It's not. It's like a mycelium, I think. So it's akin to mushrooms, and it like breaks down the maybe it's for sake, yeah. And it breaks down the rice. That way the yeast can eat the sugars in it. Otherwise, normally I don't think the yeast, the sugars in the rice is available for the yeast to eat. But anyways, continuing. Fruity and deep with lots of preserved plums, raisins, dates, finished with a fascinating, addictive, zingy palm sugar sweetness. Apparently they've been making this tea for a while. Mix of cultivars of green tea picked at different times of year. Yeah, so the same starter to make sake, miso, and soy. Okay, so koji is used for all those. After fermenting the tea, it is steamed to sterilize the tea. This is different from Chinese ripe tea, which leaves continue to slowly ferment. Okay, so they steam sterilize this, so I guess technically it won't age the same as pu'er, where it's more of a microbial activity. It might age through oxidation possibly, but they shut down the microbial activity. You can compare it to Chinese heicha, but only in the style of processing. The taste and texture is unique. Lighter than most fermented teas, mixed with some fruity black Ceylon tea, with some hojicha, and a touch of ripe pu'er. So it's a mixture of all kinds of tea. Sounds interesting. I do want to know what that one thing in it is that they say it has. Tetaric? I'm just going to look that up right now. Tetaric. Popular hot milk tea beverage, most commonly found in restaurants, outdoor stalls. It means Malay. It means pulled tea, so it's Malaysian. Huh. Sounds pretty interesting. I kind of want to try that. So I guess it has vibes of Malaysian pulled milk tea. Sounds pretty interesting. But yeah, I got my teaware set up. I didn't really weigh this out. I reckon it's probably about 5 grams. Um, yeah, I don't think it really needs to be weighed out. I don't usually weigh out my right pour. Looks good though. Doesn't look anything crazy. There's a lot of stuff that went into this for sure. But I will be doing a wash, 210 degrees Fahrenheit. And we'll do that pretty quick, I think. Maybe give it like 5 seconds. Frankly, that's probably long enough for a wash already. So yeah, we'll do this quick wash, 210 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we'll go in on that first steep. I am doing this based off the recommendations on the bag by Mayleaf for temp-wise. Which they do say they steam sterilize this, so probably nothing, no weird things in it. So I usually do right pour at 212 just because there might be some weird bugs in it or some weird things going on, and boiling water kills things. So this is just short of boiling. So maybe it'll provide a little more sweetness coming out of the liquid. Let me give a wet leaf smell. It smells really nice. Definitely smells like dates for sure. Maybe kind of raisiny. Smells sweet, smells fruity. Doesn't smell strongly of tea. Smells more of a fruit. Dates, raisins, plum. Getting that vibe off it. So we will steep here for, I don't know, let's go for 15 to 20 seconds. All right, here is that first steep. I think it was mentioned in the Mayleaf notes that this is a slightly milder liquid than typical pour. So I'm expecting it to be a little lighter in color and maybe a little lighter in taste as far as like the earthiness and the damp soil flavor goes. That's typically I associate with right pour. There's the leaves. I do feel they look a little green. Am I tripping, or they look a little green to you too? Definitely not as dark as a typical right pour. Still smells quite fruity and sweet. Those are really the only notes I get off it so far. Not a bad thing. Those leaves are quite small. It's hard to not get them in there. But dark liquid. Not entirely black like most right pour. It's kind of a real dark brown. Not a ton to say on it, just because the dark color. I can't see how clear it is, or if it's muddy or not, but smells real nice. Smells super fruity. This might make a really nice milk tea, or might be good sweetened, or if you want to do it as like a boba drink or something, that might be interesting. Alright, let's give this a little taste. Straight off the bat, like a medium body, not super full bodied, but definitely not light. Taste is interesting. There's like a certain savoriness. I think people use the term umami. Kind of refers to like soy sauce, like dried fish, like just that really kind of like MSG, but without the salty, I guess. I'm getting a lot of that, which is interesting with strong flavors of, or smells of fruit. I'm not really getting a ton of fruit flavor, which is interesting. I'm getting a good amount of astringency. It's definitely different. Interesting for sure. I think what I'm gonna do is do a second steep, a little longer this time, and I'll come back with some more tasting notes and my final thoughts. All right, here comes that second steep. I will say I think I'm feeling this tea already. Just a slightly energizing body effect, I guess. So that's pretty nice. It's been 5 or 10 minutes, I think. So I am kind of low tolerance for caffeine though. A couple cups of tea and I feel it. Just something to note though for sure. Yeah, definitely. I feel like I can definitely tell it was green tea. Let's do another smell profile. Yeah, it still smells fruity. I think the date and I think the date and raisin smell kind of chilled, and now it kind of smells like a little more like plum. I think like what do we call it? When I lived out in Hawaii, it was Li Hing. It's like the sweet, sour, salty, dried plums. I think Japanese, it's umeboshi. It kind of reminds me of that, smell-wise. Which they're a real interesting flavor. If you haven't had umeboshi or in Hawaii they call it Li Hing moi. They put in Hawaii, it was cool. I grew up there, and they grind it into like a powder and they put it on things. Like you can get it on shave ice, and it's on candy, and kind of like how now they're doing like sour candies and putting like the Mexican seasoning on them. They do that in Hawaii with Li Hing, and it's really good. It's like a sweet, salty, sour, very sour, extremely sour, and then it has that fruity plum taste. But umeboshi is the same. I've cooked with it before, made like rice balls with it and stuff, but it's really good. And this kind of smells like that. It's like a savory plum, like fruity plum, like kind of sour notes on the nose, not in the flavor. The flavor so far has been more savory, kind of reminiscent of soy sauce, I feel like, which is interesting. Yeah, we'll try some more here in a sec. Let me let this cool a little. All right, let's give this second steep a taste. Those astringent bitter notes I got on that first steep have definitely calmed down a bit, I feel, which is interesting. Normally I feel like it's the opposite way around, where that first steep starts out with like no bitterness or astringency, and it can potentially get stronger on like second, third, and maybe even fourth steep, and then it calms down again. Right now, so far, the first steep was more bitter and astringent than this one. I'm getting a little more of the fruitiness and the flavor now. That first steep, I think it was just overpowered by just all those other flavors I was getting. I still get it pretty strongly on the smell as well. Yeah, it's really interesting. Definitely getting I think those brown sugar notes they mentioned. I don't get a ton of sweetness. I get a bit, but like that deeper flavor in brown sugar that's from like the molasses. Maybe you've had blackstrap molasses before. It has kind of those I don't know, those harsher flavors that you don't get in like white sugar. I get that. I don't get as much sweetness, but I get those extra flavors for sure. And I'm getting some kind of like grain. I don't know if it's oats. They mentioned barley. I don't really recall what that tastes like off the top of my head. And I do get like kind of like soy sauce like notes. Of course, it's not like salty, but kind of does remind me of that. It is a very interesting tea. Glad I got to try it. I don't know if it's quite for me. Not necessarily my thing, but it's definitely interesting, and some of you out there might really enjoy it. It's definitely weird, for sure. Very different. There's a lot going on for sure. Uh, I would recommend once it comes back in stock. Unfortunately, it seems to be out of stock at the time of me filming this video. But I'd recommend at least a little 5 gram taster to add on to your order. It's like $2. Just to give it a little taste. I would definitely not treat this like you would normal show pour. I think this tea might be a little more delicate than normal show pour. These leaves are quite small, little bits, quite fluffy, quite soft feeling, and the liquid is definitely not as dark or as strong as show pour. It's a little lighter. I'd say it's definitely interesting for sure. But yeah, it's been Talon, Koji Plum from May Leaf. I'll leave a link to this tea down below. Maybe you can request them to contact you when it's back in stock, or put it in your wish list or whatever if you're interested. If I have any extra tasting notes as I drink through the rest of this, I'll leave them in the description below. It says it brews for around 7 steeps. I put in what looked like, roughly 5 grams, but now that it's wet, it's fluffed up quite a bit, so it seemed like quite a lot. I'm not too sure. So I'll let you know how many steeps I get out of this. Probably aim for 7 or 8. But yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more tea content. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I always appreciate some good discourse in the comments, hearing people's experiences and whatnot. All right, see ya.